Puss in Boots. There was once a miller's youngest son, Caraba by name, whose father had left him nothing in all the world save a cat. The poor lad was without hope. How am I to live, with no fortune? Puss and I are sure to starve. The cat did not like the sound of his master's words at all. Good Master Caraba, give me only a pair of boots, a plummet hat, and an empty bag, and I will make you rich. Caraba did as his faithful cat asked, and Puss, gallantly dressed in his fine new clothes, scooped a measure of grain into his bag and hurried off to the woods. Using the grain as bait, the cat quickly trapped a rabbit in his sack. Puss went straight to the king's palace. He stood before the king, placed his sack on the carpet, and bowed low. Your Majesty, my master, the Marquis Carabas, sent you this gift of rabbit, and with in the greeting of a loyal subject. Your master is most generous, Puss in Boots. There is nothing I like better than a rabbit pie. The next day, Puss trapped 2 plump partridges and gave them to the king. Day after day, he bought some small game and presented it to the king in the name of the Marquis of Carabas. And day after day, the king grew more and more curious about this noble marquis. At last, one morning, the king and his daughter, the most beautiful princess in all the world, drove out to learn all they could about the mysterious Marquis of Carabas. No sooner did their coach turn toward the river than Puss went running home as if his life depended on it. Good Master Caraba, you must bathe in the river at once. So great was the cat's excitement that the miller's lad did so, without asking why or wherefore. The moment he was in the water, Puss gathered up his dusty, shabby clothes and hid them under a large rock. When the king's coach passed by, out ran Puss, waving his arm. Help! Help! My master the Marquis is drowning. The king recognized Puss in Boots at once. Guard, quickly! You must rescue the Marquis of Carabas. While the guards pulled the astonished Caraba out of the water, Puss told the king that some knave had stolen and his master's fine clothes. The king said to his wardrobe keeper, fetch my extra suit of clothes from the carriage and dress the Marquis at once. This was done. In such fine clothes, Caraba was so handsome that the beautiful princess instantly fell in love with him. Puss in Boots drew the king aside. My master would like to express his gratitude by inviting you and your beautiful daughter to dine at his castle just down the road. So off they went in the king's carriage. Little did anyone suspect that Puss was leading them toward the castle belonging to a wicked giant old. Unaware of the cat's plan, Caraba sat beside the princess, admiring her beauty and wishing the ride might never end. Puss, meanwhile, was running well ahead of the coach. He came upon some farmers working in the orchard field, A mighty king is coming to destroy the ogre and his men. What can we do to escape? Asked the frightened farmers. You must not tell the king that you are the August man. Rather say you work for the Marquis of Carabas. Soon everyone along the road had heard of the approaching danger. So each time the king learning out to ask who owned the land, the frightened workers told him the Marquis of Carabas. Puss, well pleased with himself, went running ahead to the castle of the wicked ogre. He walked boldly through the great courtyard and the stately rooms, and at last he came upon the frightful ogre himself. "Well, cat, I think I'll have you for lunch. Have you anything to say before I eat you?" Puss walked forward bravely. "I have heard that you can turn yourself into a lion, but I cannot believe that even you can do that." "Can't you?" the ogre bellowed, and in the uh, twinkling of an eye he had turned it a terrible, roaring lion. "Wonderful indeed! But I have also heard that, great as you are, you can turn yourself into a tiny mouse. But surely this is not possible." "See for yourself," roared the furious ogre, and at once he was a small grey mouse scurrying across the floor. This suited Puss perfectly. One spot, and both mouse and ogre was gone forever. Puss ran to the gates bravely in time to throw them open for the royal coach. "Welcome to the castle of my noble master, the Marquis of Carabas." The king was overwhelmed by the richness and beauty of the castle, and after a magnificent feast the king exclaimed, "No one but the noble Marquis is worthy of my daughter's hand." Both Caraba and the princess were overjoyed. Their wedding took place that very day. So Caraba and his bride lived happily ever after. And so did Puss in Boots.